Your biological age is not the same number on your driver's license. For most men over 45, it is running 10, sometimes 15 years ahead. The body knows. You feel it in the recovery that stopped being recovery, in the sleep that stopped being rest, in the quiet cellular heaviness that has no single name but one precise biological cause. This is not about how you look. This is about what is happening at the level of your DNA right now as you breathe. Intermittent fasting doesn't touch your biological age. Cold plunges don't touch your biological age. Even the most aggressive supplement stack doesn't touch your biological age at the chromosomal level, where the clock actually runs. But there is something that does. A specific breath pattern, codified in a 15th century yogic text, now confirmed by a Nobel Prize and a landmark paper in Lancet Oncology. And it takes 11 minutes. The first curiosity you should have is this. Why did the same mechanism that ancient masters used to achieve documented longevity take modern science until 2009 to name? The answer to that will change how you understand everything that follows. Here is what is actually aging you. Not stress in the abstract, not inflammation as a buzzword. The mechanism is precise. Inside every cell in your body, your chromosomes end in protective caps called telomeres. Think of the plastic tip at the end of a shoelace. That tip exists to prevent the lace from unraveling. Telomeres exist for exactly the same reason. Every time your cell divides, those caps shorten. When they fray beyond a threshold, the cell stops dividing correctly. That is biological aging. Measurable, structural, and for most men living under chronic stress, running far faster than it should. It's not your joints, it's not your diet. It's shortened telomeres accelerated by cortisol dominance and chronic shallow mouth breathing feeding that dominance every hour of every day. Here is what happens physiologically. Cortisol is not just a stress hormone, it is a telomere accelerant. Every shallow breath through the mouth signals low-grade threat to the nervous system. That signal triggers a cortisol cascade. That cascade compresses telomere length incrementally, consistently, invisibly. Most men are running this loop all day and through the night without knowing it. The drip is slow. The damage is cumulative. In 2009, the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine went to Elizabeth Blackburn, Carol Greider, and Jack Szostak for a discovery that reframed what aging means at the molecular level. They identified telomerase, the enzyme your body already produces that rebuilds telomere length. Your biological age is not fixed. At the cellular level, it is measurable, and it is modifiable. That is not a hypothesis. That is the scientific consensus for which the highest prize in medicine was awarded. Telomerase is the molecular recapper. It restores what cortisol and shallow breathing erode. What most men are never told is what happens when telomeres reach critical shortness. The cell does not simply age. It enters a state called senescence, where it stops dividing but refuses to die, instead releasing inflammatory signals that accelerate the deterioration of every surrounding tissue. One compromised cell becomes a biological broadcast. The question has never been whether telomerase works. The question is what conditions activate it. In 2013, Dean Ornish and a research team at UCSF published findings in Lancet Oncology, showing a 29% increase in telomerase activity, following a lifestyle intervention that included yoga and pranayama breathing. 29%. Measured, documented, peer-reviewed. 5 centuries before that paper was published, the Hatha Yoga Pradipika described a breath called samavriti, equal breath, equal wave. The text did not use the word telomerase. It used the language available to it. But what it described was a coherent breathing pattern operating at approximately 5.5 breath cycles per minute. the exact frequency that modern respiratory science identifies as the resonance point for vagus nerve engagement, cortisol suppression, and heart rate variability optimization. The yogic masters who practiced it were documented into their 90s and beyond, in an era when average lifespan was 35. Modern science now has the name for what they were doing to their biology. There is something most men in this moment already know, but have never said out loud. The morning stiffness that wasn't there at 35. The tiredness that a full night of sleep doesn't resolve. The quiet awareness that the body is running a program you no longer feel in control of. Tell me in the comments, what is the one thing your body is doing right now that your calendar age says you're too young for? Everyone here already knows the answer. Most people never allow themselves to ask the question out loud. But before I give you the sequence, you need to understand why your current breathing is actively aging your DNA, and how fast. The average adult takes 16 to 18 shallow breaths per minute, each one incomplete, each one a partial signal of physiological threat. At 16 breaths per minute, you are never reaching the parasympathetic depth where telomerase repair executes. The cortisol drip runs. The telomere caps shorten. The clock advances faster than the calendar. What you are about to receive has two names. Its ancient name, Tribandha Prana, the three locks protocol. Its modern descriptor, the coherent telomerase breath sequence. 3 steps, 3 distinct physiological states, 11 minutes total. The first lock is called the equal breath, Samavriti. Breathe in through the nose for exactly 5.5 counts. Breathe out through the nose for exactly 5.5 counts. No pause, no force. The sensation is a slow tide filling, then a slow tide withdrawing. Nothing is held. Nothing is rushed. You will feel the breath reaching parts of your lungs that your daily breathing never visits. Maintain this for 3 minutes. The second lock is called the hold, Antara Kumbhaka. Breathe in for 5 counts. Hold at full capacity for 5 counts. Breathe out for 5 counts. At the peak of the hold, the body becomes still in a way that is different from tension. It is fullness without urgency. The nervous system registers safety at maximum capacity. That signal is the physiological window where telomerase activity increases. 90 seconds. The third lock is called the surrender, Sahaja. Release all control. No counting, no shaping. Let the body breathe itself. You will notice it finds a rhythm without instruction. That rhythm is your autonomic system returning to baseline. Recalibrated, not exhausted. 30 seconds. Then open your eyes. Here is what happens across 30 days of consistent practice. On day 1, you will feel a stillness in the hold that is unfamiliar. Not discomfort, but a depth of quiet in the chest you have not accessed in years. Week 1, sleep onset accelerates, and the 3 a.m. waking that used to pull you out of deep sleep without reason begins to stop. Week 2, physical recovery between effort and rest measurably improves. The legs that felt heavy by afternoon start carrying their weight past 6. By day 30, telomerase activity, anchored to the Ornish data, has begun its measurable climb. The biological age marker that was running ahead of you starts to close the gap. Your biology has been running a pattern no one taught you to interrupt. That pattern is not inevitable. It is a default, and defaults can be overridden with the correct input, applied with precision and consistency. Youth is not something that left you. It is something your biology stopped being given the conditions to maintain. You now hold the sequence that restores those conditions. Your biological age is not a sentence. It is a signal. And now you know how to answer it. Not magic. Biology. Type clock 1 in the comments below. And if you want to know what happens to biological age, When you stack this protocol with one specific dietary window, that amplifies vagus nerve response. That is the next transmission.